Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. Today we have a very special episode, and you want to know why? Today's my birthday. Woo! I'm 27, y'all. So today I wanted to do something a little special for you guys. I wanted to talk about some things I would tell my 20-year-old self or my younger self now that I'm 27 years old. I have had 7 years of life experience since I was 20. So I want to talk about what I would tell my 20-year-old self if I was her big sister, because we've experienced a lot. We've experienced friendship breakups, we've experienced family drama, we've experienced hella relationships. We experienced so much, y'all. And I know our 20s is such a confusing time. It's time for your growth. Like, your 20s can be the most beautiful time of your life while also being one of the most stressful times of your life, because you're trying to kind of figure your life out. You're figuring out what you want to do as a career. You're trying to figure out who you are as a person. You're just trying to figure so much shit out. Your 20s are kind of wild. They're beautiful, they're messy, they're confusing, they're even a little humbling, and they're just full of life lessons that shape you into becoming your full, true self. And yeah, there is a little bit of chaos. So if you're in your early 20s or even just kind of reflecting on your growth, I want this episode to kind of feel like a little FaceTime chit chat, and we're just doing a little therapy session here trying to navigate our 20s together. Okay, y'all? I want to have it talk a little honest. I want it to be soft. I just want it to feel like we're connecting. And I want to give you the best advice that I possibly can. Okay, y'all? Okay, so the first thing, and honestly, one of the most important things I would tell 20-year-old me is you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have your life completely together at all. I remember when I was 20, there was just this constant pressure that I need to start figuring my life out because you're an adult. I thought when I was 20 years old, I thought by the time I turned 27, I was going to be married, I was going to have a family, I was going to be very high up in my career. I thought so many things that aren't true. We had this idea in our heads what our future later 20s are supposed to look like, and it was just kind of pressure. Like, I felt like I was supposed to already know what my purpose was or what my career path was going to look like or who I was going to marry, where I was going to live, and all of it. And when I didn't have the answers, I began to panic. I compared myself to everyone around me. I literally picked up, moved to California to try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And when I didn't find the answers, I panicked, picked up, moved home, which I love being back in Jersey. Don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what your 20s is all about. You're trying to figure out where you want to go in your life, where you want to live. Like, I tried California, didn't want to be there forever. That's totally fine, but I gave it a go. It just felt like everybody had a life plan. It was they were in their dream major in college, or they already started their perfect relationship, or they're traveling the world, while I was just kind of figuring things out and just praying and hoping I wasn't messing up my life, cuz I had no clue what I wanted to do. And honestly, I'm 27 and I still don't have it all figured out. Like, I'm not married, I don't have a family, like, I'm not high up in my career. I'm literally still in school, y'all. Like, it is okay to not have it figured out. And I would tell everyone that, because there's just so much pressure. And now that I'm 27 years old, I can really tell you nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Seriously. Everyone is just doing their best with the information that they have and their emotional capacity that they have in the moment. That girl that you thought had it all together, she's probably crying in her car too, screaming sometimes. And that guy who looks confident about their future, he's probably just winging it? And that's the truth. We're all just learning. It's all trial and error. We learn and experience as we go. There's no set plan that you need to follow, because when you have that set plan in your head, that kind of leads to disappointment. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, y'all. Life doesn't happen in a straight line, y'all. It unfolds in chapters, kind of like a book. If you're a reader, you know, okay? And some chapters are slower. They're messier or quieter than others. And you'll switch majors. You're going to change jobs. You're going to move. You're going to lose people. You're going to outgrow things that you never thought you could live without. And that doesn't mean you failed. That's growth. You are growing, you are maturing, you are turning into who you are meant to be, okay? You are allowed to pivot. You are allowed to start over. You're allowed to wake up one day and realize, you know what? That version of my dream doesn't align with me anymore. It doesn't fit what I want. And it's okay to choose something completely new. If I could sit across from my 20-year-old self and just have a coffee with her, I would tell her to breathe, to chill out, to stop trying to sprint towards this finish line that doesn't even exist. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not lost. You're learning. Every experience you have right now and that you're experiencing right now, the confusion, the heartbreak, the uncertainty, it is all teaching you something, you guys. It's shaping your character, your resilience, your empathy. So you need to keep showing up for yourself. You need to keep trying new things and keep trusting that the dots will connect eventually, even if it doesn't make sense right now. Life doesn't make sense. That's just what it is. It never makes sense, but it all will fall into place and it all will align because one day you're going to look back and realize that every wrong turn was actually just leading you right where you were supposed to be. It's just a detour. So, yeah, 20-year-old me, relax, babe. Relax. You're doing better than you think. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to live and learn along the way, each and every day. Life is about learning, it's not about perfection. If there is one thing I wish I could literally grab a drill and just drill it into 20-year-old me's head, is you don't have to prove your worth to anybody. At 20, I was constantly performing, trying to be the good student, the perfect friend, or the chill girlfriend, the one who never messed up, never said no, never disappointed anyone. I wanted to be liked, admired, chosen. And deep down, I think I believed that if I worked hard enough, achieved everything, achieved enough, looked good, then I would finally feel worthy. But the truth is, that kind of mindset will absolutely exhaust you. You start to live your life like it's a constant audition. You're always trying to earn approval that you already deserve just by being who you are. But the truth is, y'all, that kind of mindset is exhausting. So exhausting. And what's wild and crazy is no matter how much validation you get, it's never going to feel like enough when it's coming from a place of insecurity. You hit one goal and your brain's already on to the next one. You look for reassurance constantly from people who were never even capable of giving it to you in the first place. Now, at 27, I learned the real and true confidence. Real peace comes from knowing your worth without needing constant validation and constant proof of it. You don't have to be the most successful person in the room to matter. You don't have to overextend yourself in relationships just to be loved. You don't have to be perfect to be deserving of good things. If I could talk to my 20-year-old self, I would tell her, stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. Stop worrying about being liked and start worrying about being authentic. The right people, the ones meant for you, the ones who are meant to be in your life, won't need you to shrink, overgive, or constantly explain your value. They're just gonna see you for who you really and truly are. I would also tell her, stop confusing being needed with being valued. Oof. Sometimes we get caught up in being the fixer, the dependable one, or the one who's always there for everybody because it makes us feel like we're important. But if you're constantly pouring into others and not pouring into you and nobody's pouring into you, that's not love. That is depletion. You deserve relationships, friendships, work environments, everything that makes you feel seen without feeling like you need to constantly perform. Your worth isn't something that you need to earn. It's something you remember. So yeah, I would tell her, put down the fucking mask. You don't have to impress anybody just to be valuable. You are already enough, even when you're still figuring it out, even when you're not at your best. Your worth isn't a reward. It's not for perfection. You deserve it no matter what. And once you really start believing it, y'all, not just saying it, but truly actually believing it, that's when everything changes. That's when you start moving differently. That's when you start choosing differently, loving yourself in a way that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. And that is freedom. That is peace. Chase that. If there is anything that's going to test your growth in your 20s, it's friendships. If I could tell 20-year-old Lexi one thing, I would just say it's okay when friendships change. It doesn't mean you're a bad friend. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. And it doesn't mean they are either. It just means you're growing. Everyone's changing. At 20, I was holding on for dear life. I was holding on so tightly to everyone, childhood friends, high school besties, even people I knew I outgrown emotionally. I thought losing something meant that I did something wrong, but now I realize people are meant to be chapters, not the whole novel. And that's the really hard thing to accept when it's someone you really love deeply because you care, you know? You really care. And when you care, you want everyone to come with you and you want everyone to be there in your next chapter, but not everyone can. Sometimes the friendship was built on a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. And that's not a bad thing. It just means you're evolving, you're growing, you're changing. And so are they. That's fine. That is normal. That always is going to happen in adult friendships. That's just part of life and that's just part of growing up. I used to chase people's energy, trying to make things feel how they used to. Like if I could see me and a friend or me and a partner were kind of outgrowing each other, I would try so hard to make things feel like they used to just so it didn't feel like things were changing. I would keep checking in. I kept overextending. I kept trying to revive something that had naturally just run its course. And that was my mistake, honestly, not letting things breathe, not letting things play out how they're supposed to. And now I know that when something or someone drifts, it's not always rejection, it's redirection. The people who are meant to be in your next chapter and your next season of life, it's going to feel like peace. It's going to happen naturally. You're not going to have to force things. They're going to root for you without feeling like a competition. They're going to communicate, not guilt trip you. They're going to understand all of your boundaries and accept them when you set them, not take them personally. And that kind of friendship is rare, but it is the realest form of friendship you will ever get. If I could just give my 20-year-old self a big old hug, I would hug her, tell her to stop forcing things, stop forcing what's fading. You don't have to keep shrinking to stay connected. Let people grow and let yourself grow too. It's okay if your group chat gets quieter. It is okay if you spend more time alone. It's okay if your circle gets smaller because as your circle gets smaller, your peace gets louder, your peace grows. And the beautiful part is every time you let go of what's no longer aligned and no longer serving you, you make space for something new and better, new friendships, new environments, new opportunities that match the version of you that you're becoming. And some people are there to teach you love, others are to teach you boundaries, and a few to remind you who you are when you forget. So, 20-year-old Lexi, don't take distance personally. Don't chase closure. Trust people that are meant for you. They will always find their way back to you naturally, not with force. And you don't lose real friends when you start growing. You just lose the ones that preferred the old version of you. And that's okay. This next one can be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. And if I could sit across from my 20-year-old self and have a real, true heart to heart about love, I would tell her that love isn't supposed to feel like confusion. At 20, I thought love was supposed to be intense, dramatic, all consuming. And if it didn't give butterflies mixed with anxiety, I thought it wasn't real. I mistook chaos for chemistry and attention for affection. But what I didn't know back then was healthy love feels calm. It's not boring, it's peaceful. You were confusing peace with boredom. I used to think the highs and the lows meant passion. Like if we argued but made up harder, it meant that we really cared for one another. But now I know love shouldn't feel like you're constantly trying to earn it or decode it. Like you shouldn't feel like you need to earn the person's love. If you're constantly wondering where you stand with each other, that's not love. That's uncertainty being dressed up as excitement. I would tell that girl the right person will never make you question if you're enough. You won't have to beg for consistency or shrink to keep the peace. Love is supposed to add to your life, not drain you, not take. It should feel like a safe place to land, not a puzzle to solve. And listen, I would also tell her you don't have to mistake potential for partnership. Just because someone could be everything you need doesn't mean they are. You can love someone and still realize they're not the person for you and they're not the person for this chapter. That is maturity. That is self respect. When you're younger, it's kind of easy to romanticize struggle, to believe that if you just hold on long and tight enough, the love is going to fix itself. But real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself just to keep it. If you're losing your peace, your sleep, your sense of self, that is not love at all. That's attachment, baby. You are just attached. And I learned that the hard way because I used to be so anxious, so attached to people, I could not let go. And at 27, I learned that the love that is meant for you will bring clarity. It's going to feel mutual, secure, and balanced. You're not going to have to overthink every text or replay every conversation constantly in your head. You're just going to know. You're going to know what's right. And it's not going to be fireworks, sunshine, rainbows all the time. It's going to be a steady, constant flame. I would tell my younger self, don't chase intensity, chase stability. Don't fall for words, watch actions. Don't confuse being chosen with being prioritized consistently. And most of all, don't be afraid to walk away when love stops feeling safe. Leaving doesn't mean you gave up. It means you finally realized you deserve peace. You realized your worth right there. So, yeah, 20-year-old Lexi, love should not make you anxious. It should make you feel understood, valued, and seen. The right love will never, ever, ever make you doubt your worth. It'll reflect it back to you each and every day. If I could go back to my 20-year-old self, I would grab her hands and tell her straight up, your body is not the problem. At 20 years old, I was so hard on myself. I would pick apart literally every little thing about myself and about my body, my stomach, my thighs, my skin, my weight, literally everything. I thought confidence meant constantly trying to fix something. And I would look in the mirror and see flaws before I even saw a whole person. And that breaks my heart now because I wish I knew how beautiful I already was. Not because of how I looked, but how much I was becoming. I think back to all those times I skipped photos because I didn't feel ready or I compared myself to girls online who had filters or angles or and great bright lighting that made everything look perfect. And for what? Those moments, those years, they were precious. I wish I would have just lived in them instead of constantly criticizing myself through them. If I could sit with that version of me, I would tell her, your body isn't supposed to stay the same forever. You're going to change your weight, your shape, your style, and that's okay. That is normal. You're growing and living. Your body's not a trend, it's your home. It is doing its best to keep you alive every single day. The problem was never your body, it was the standard. The constant messaging that said you had to look a certain way to be worthy, desirable, or successful or beautiful. But y'all, your glow has never, ever been about your size. It's about your energy. And honestly, when you're in your 20s, your body is going through so many different changes hormones, stress, figuring out who you are, trying to balance school, work, relationships. It's a lot. You're not supposed to look airbrushed through all of that. You're supposed to look like a human being. Now at 27, I look at myself with so much more compassion. I see soft spots or little scars or whatever I have on my body is proof that I'm alive, proof I've survived things that once broke me. I would tell my younger self to stop waiting to love your body until it looks different. Start appreciating it for what it already does for you. Take the photo, wear the outfit, eat the meal, go out with your friends. Don't let insecurity rob you of memories you're going to wish you had one day. Because confidence isn't about being completely airbrushed and flawless, it's about showing up anyway. It's about walking into a room like, hell yeah, this is me, I'm that bitch. Your body is not the problem. The way you talk to it is the problem. So start speaking to yourself with kindness, the same kindness you give everyone else. You would never sit there and tell your best friend or your sister or your brother or someone you truly love and care about, oh my God, you're fat, you look like shit. You would never say those things to your friend. So why would you say that to yourself? Your body is not the issue here, it's your mindset. Another thing I would tell my 20-year-old self, and honestly, sometimes I still have to remind my 27-year-old self this sometimes, and that's rest is not laziness. At 20, I was running on like fumes, okay? I thought the only way to prove I was doing enough was to never stop moving. I would stay up late studying, overwork myself, working doubles at the fucking Cheesecake Factory, saying yes to plans, saying yes to parties, saying yes to everything, and then wonder why I felt so empty. I tied my worth to my productivity. And like if I wasn't busy or something or grinding towards my goal, I was failing or wasting time. But what I didn't realize back then is exhaustion isn't a badge of honor. It's a warning sign, y'all. Now I get it. We live in a culture that glamorizes hustle and bustle and burnout. Everyone's like, no sleep, no days off, keep pushing. But that mindset is going to have you burnt the fuck out, disconnected, and wondering why you don't even enjoy the things you've been working so hard for. I would tell my 20-year-old self, it is okay to slow down sometimes. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take a nap. It is okay to rest and sometimes to do nothing and still be deserving of love and success. Rest isn't something that you need to earn. You're human. You are not a freaking robot. You have a soul in your body that needs recovery. I remember feeling so guilty for watching a new show that I was really interested in when I should have been being productive. Like, I felt like I was wasting so much time, but rest is productive. It's when your body allows itself to think clearly, to create, to love, to show up fully. Without it, everything starts to fall apart. Your health, your mindset, your energy. Rest is part of your glow up. You can't pour into others or chase your goals from an empty cup. You deserve to be well rested and successful. You can be driven and still take some days off. You can be ambitious and still take a nap and to still need some quiet time. I would tell her that burnout is not your destiny, balance is. Now, I actually romanticize rest. I'll make my space all comfy, cozy, light a candle, journal, stretch. I'll take a walk with my dog and just let myself breathe. I treat rest like it's a ritual, not a reward. And I wish 20-year-old me knew that slowing down doesn't mean you're falling behind. It means you're finally learning to move at the pace of peace. So, yeah, 20-year-old Lexi, take the nap, take the break, unplug for a bit. The world will still be there when you wake up and when you come back to reality. And when you come back, you're going to come back so much clearer, calmer, and more in tune with yourself. Rest isn't laziness, it's showing that you love and care for yourself. It's self care. Another thing I would love to tell 20-year-old Lexi is I would tell her you're not falling behind. I know it feels like it, but you're not. At 20, I thought I had to have this whole timeline figured out. I thought by 25, I needed the perfect career, the relationship, the dream home with all the perfect, cute furniture, and I needed to have perfect skin that screamed, I have my life together. And When that didn't happen on schedule, I completely freaked out. I panicked. I would scroll through my social media and I would see people my age going on these fancy trips, buying houses, getting engaged, launching businesses. And I would think, what the fuck am I doing wrong? But what I know now is everyone's path is customized and you're not supposed to look like everyone else's timeline. That is the beauty of life. That is the beauty of being unique. I would tell that girl to stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's Instagram post because, like, half the time that shit isn't real. People are going to post their milestones, they're not going to post their meltdowns. You don't see the late nights, the hard work, the doubt, the setbacks. You just see the good that happens in people's life. So, of course, you're going to feel behind, but you're not behind, you're building. The universe or God or whatever you personally believe in has its own rhythm for your life. Okay. Some people bloom early, some bloom later, but everyone blooms when they're meant to. There's no age limit on your purpose. There's no deadline for peace, for love, or for success. I would tell her that detours are divine, that your job you thought you failed at, it taught you resilience, didn't it? That relationship that didn't work out, it prepared you for something even better. That waiting season that you hate oh so much, it's not punishment, it's preparation. I remember constantly thinking, oh my God, I'm wasting my time. But now I realize that my time wasn't wasted. It was shaping me, maturing me, refining my vision. Sometimes you need those years that feel quiet, feel slow, or uncertain at times because they're building your foundation, they're building your purpose. You can't rush wisdom, you can't shortcut growth. Now, at 27 years old, I've realized that something that brings my peace. Okay. So breathe. You're not late. You're not early. You are right on time for your life. And the thing is, once you stop racing that clock, you start to enjoy the journey. You start to appreciate the journey. You start noticing how far you've actually come. You start celebrating your small wins instead of shaming your progress. So, 20-year-old Lexi, all right, if I could sit here and talk to you right now, I would say this: you are doing better than you think. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And one day you're going to look back and see this version of you and realize they were never behind. You were just at the beginning. Another huge thing I would tell 20-year-old Lexi, hell, I would tell 26-year-old Lexi this. Healing isn't linear, but worth is. At 20, I thought healing was something that you only did one time. Like you cry it out, you journal, and bam, boom, you're good. But it doesn't work like that. Healing isn't a checklist. It is a lifelong journey. Some days you're going to feel like you're on top of the fucking world. And other days you're going to feel triggered by things that you thought you were over. And that's okay. That's part of the process. I used to beat myself up for feeling hurt or confused. I used to think, shouldn't I be over and past this by now? But what I know now is progress isn't always visible. Sometimes healing looks like choosing not to react a way that you used to, or sometimes it's forgiving yourself for not knowing better, or sometimes it's just getting out of bed and just trying again. I would tell my younger self to stop rushing your healing, stop judging your timeline. You're not weak for still struggling a little bit, you're human. You're growing for what tried to break you. Healing is going to humble you. It will bring stuff up you didn't even realize you were carrying. Honestly, it'll make you face patterns, wounds, and beliefs that kept you kind of stuck, but it'll also set you free. I would also tell her that healing is going to change you for the better in the best possible ways. It's going to make you softer, it's going to make you stronger, it's going to make you more compassionate, more patient, more grounded. It's going to help you love differently, starting with yourself. You need to stop needing closure from other people who hurt you. You're going to stop trying to fix everyone else. You'll stop tying your worth to how others treat you. One day, you're going to wake up and realize you're not triggered by the things that used to completely wreck you and tear you the fuck down. You're going to realize you're laughing again. You're lighter. You're not healed because everything's perfect. You're healed because you stopped letting that pain define you. So, 20-year-old Lexi, you're not broken, you're becoming. Don't rush the healing process. Don't compare your journey. Just keep showing up for yourself, or even on the hard days, because every small step, every tear, every act of self love, it's leading you somewhere beautiful. Healing isn't pretty every single day, but it is always worth it. And one day you're going to look back and think to yourself and thank yourself for just not giving up. You're going to appreciate it more. So, if I could sit across my 20-year-old self right this second, I would smile and say, thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to try, even when you were scared. Thank you for the nights you cried, but still showed up the next day. Thank you for all the ways you kept choosing growth, even when it hurt. Because that version of me, the one who didn't have it all together and have it all figured out, who made mistakes, who doubted herself, she built the woman I am today. Every chapter, every lesson, every heartbreak mattered. I would make sure she knew that she was doing way better than she thought. You don't have to have the answer yet. Life is not something to figure out, it's something to experience. There's a huge difference with that. You're going to evolve, you're going to change directions, you're going to outgrow people, fall in love, mess up, heal, rinse and repeat. And that's the beauty of it. You're supposed to. I would tell her to stop being so damn hard on herself and to give herself a little bit of grace that she gave everyone else, to enjoy your own company, to stop rushing the next thing and to actually live in the moment that you're in. Because one day she'll realize that all the uncertainty, all the what am I doing moments, they were her becoming. And honestly, if there is one message I want y'all to listen to and take away from this, is that you're not behind. You're not broken. You're not late. You're right on time. You're growing in ways you can't even see yet. And one day you're going to look back and realize that every single thing you went through was preparing you for the life that you've prayed for, you've manifested. So here's my reminder for you, y'all. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep giving yourself permission to start over. Keep believing that where you are now is enough, because this version of you is doing their very best. And that's more than enough. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today on today's episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. I am so happy you sat with me through this episode. I hope that you could sit here and give yourself a little bit of grace. And if this episode spoke to you in any way, shape, or form, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Share it with your best friend, your little sister, your little brother, your little cousin. Anybody who needs to hear this, anybody who is in their becoming stages, because they need to realize that they don't need to be so hard on themselves. They are becoming, they are growing. Life is something to experience, not to perfect. I love you so much, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. Happy birthday to me. Bye.